Teshidele once again. So now we move to the second of the practices, precious human life. And so, while some people believe that they are here because of some kind of a divine plan, usually associated with a God, what we find from the scientific point of view is actually even more amazing in some ways. So I want to take a look at that, because the odds of human existence as a species is just incalculably small. If you think about all of the atoms in our body and planet and the zillions of stars that are out there in the universe, this universe, and we certainly now believe there are multiple universes, that the odds are just so small that your body, those atoms actually exist at all. If we even ignore those odds and focus just on the time span, a very conservative time span for modern man of 45,000 years, this number, I believe it started much earlier than that, and ignore all of the other previous versions of human beings that existed. And if we estimate that a new generation lasts about 20 years, which is a common figure used for doing that, 45,000 years divides up then into 2,250 generations. And then if we look at each of those generations, a woman produces one egg every month during her fertile life. And today's lifespans, that typically would be somewhere around 500 eggs. These are just rough estimates. However, in ancient times with shorter life expectancies, we might have had somewhere closer to 300 eggs. But optimistically, the odds of a particular egg being produced that is in your body, that became your body, is only 1 in 675,000. 1 in 675,000. So very, very small odds. On the other side, we have the male sperm, and with the male sperm, the production varies considerably, but an estimate, an approximate average for that would be around 6 million sperm with each ejaculation. Now, assuming an average of 2 ejaculations per week over an ancient lifespan, we would come up with about 20 trillion sperm. Okay? One of those 20 trillion sperm was the one that united with the egg. So you can see that the odds are getting very, very small. And if we combine the odds of the egg with the odds of the sperm actually uniting together to form what became you, the odds get very, very small. It's 1 in 13.5 with 5 sets of 3 zeros after that. I don't even know what the name of that is. It's so big, or the inverse of that, so small. But the point is that the odds are just incredibly small, and that doesn't even take into consideration most of the odds that come into the calculation of our own existence. But that's not the end of the story. Okay, it's more than that. And so when we look at it from a Buddhist tradition, they tell the story of a blind turtle. There's a blind turtle that lives at the bottom of the ocean and only comes to the surface once every 100 years. Now, on the surface of this ocean, being tossed about by the waves and the winds and so forth, is a yolk. So there's a hole in this yolk. And the odds of being born as a human and having the opportunity to study the Dharma is considered to be the same as the odds of that turtle coming up from the surface once every 100 years and actually sticking its head through the hole in the yolk. Okay? Now just imagine that. I mean, the ocean is a big place. So the odds, again, not very big. But either way, when you look at it as statistical odds in terms of sperm and eggs, or you look at it in terms of the story of the blind turtle, in either way, we realize that we are extremely fortunate to be here. Okay? So we have this rare opportunity. But the other part of the story, if you will, is that for a life to be truly precious from a Buddhist point of view, that we have to also have the good fortune to have the opportunity to practice. And so that includes advantages of being born human in a place where the Dharma is actually taught, having the necessary sense faculties to be able to understand the Dharma, and having the intention and faith necessary to do this. In addition, we have to be born with the advantage of a particular teacher who we can connect with, who has great compassion, is actually teaching the Dharma, and where we have the time and the resources available, and so forth. There are a number of other kinds of things. So you can see that it's rare to be born human, but it's even more rare to have all of these other conditions and opportunities that are necessary for this to come together. And so that's the basis for looking at and contemplating this precious opportunity. And the point is that it's extraordinarily rare and very, very precious. And a few of us actually really appreciate this. And so doing this contemplation will help us with this. This life is just a flash of lightning in the scope of time overall. And every second then becomes of immeasurable benefit. Nor do we know how much longer time that we actually have. It may go on for many years, live a very long life, or it may be over in a moment. We just don't know. So knowing this, we have to contemplate this rare opportunity that we have. Now, some people want to cram as much living in as they can. Other people want to take the opportunity then to do as much as they can for others, the altruistic approach. And of course, there's lots of stages in between that. So we want to take advantage of this opportunity, this higher purpose, if you will, and focus on this one great goal that we have in our life, the spiritual goal, and seek this opportunity because this is not a perfect world. If it was, we wouldn't need to do this. But because it's imperfect, because there is suffering, then we need to contemplate this and renew our commitment to doing this practice. So the actual practice in this particular case is practice number 12. And I'd like to read through the practice, the description given in our root text here. So beginning on page 25, pondering the difficulty of obtaining a human life of leisure and endowment. If the difficulty of obtaining a human life of leisure and endowment is not pondered, one will not think of the Dharma. So such reflection is extremely important. In terms of location, go where there are insects, ants, and many kinds of animals. As for your posture, sit cross-legged and place your hands in the Mudra of Meditative Equipoise. The Mudra of Meditative Equipoise is placing your left hand on the bottom, your right hand on the top, and then bringing your thumbs together in an oval, so it's a little bit like holding a large egg or something in your hands. And then that is placed at the center of your lower abdomen, okay, in your lap or just above your lap, held against your abdomen. So that is the Mudra of Meditative Equipoise. And this continues on page 26, reading the indented sections here, going through mind, speech, and so forth. So our body part was the posture. With your mind, ponder in this way. Oh dear, the acquisition of a human life is just for now. I can't bring Dharma to it now. It will be very difficult to obtain later. Moreover, it is not enough that I alone have obtained human life, for these sentient beings of the three realms have long wandered in this miserable states of existence. Oh, compassion! Verbally utter these words in a melodious voice and let them arouse your mindfulness. Alas, alas, wretched me, the procurement of a precious human life is just for now. If I fail to accomplish any dharma in this life, it will be difficult to obtain a human life later on. Alas, for those who have taken birth in the 3 miserable states of existence. Arouse your mindfulness with those words and meditate on the following. Throughout the vast universe, as far as the extent of space, sentient beings are screaming with the pain in the hell realms. Pretas, or hungry ghosts, are enduring the incapacitating miseries of hunger and thirst. They're envisioned as having huge stomachs and throats the size of a needle and very tiny mouths. And so even when they get food or drink, they never are satiated. They always want more. And all animals, including tigers, leopards, black bears, brown bears, dogs, foxes, wolves, yaks, goats, and sheep, devour one another. Under the soil, red ants, black ants, scorpions, spiders, and every kind of insect that fills the earth kill each other. In the water, incalculable aquatic animals, including fish, frogs, and tadpoles, kill one another. And in the sky, vultures, kites, hawks, eagles, sparrows, crows, doves, magpies, warblers, and so on, that fill the sky kill and devour each other. Even the winged insects that fill the sky and earth devour each other alive, making sounds of anguish. So we visualize these animals, birds, fish, and so forth, devouring each other, and the pain and agony associated with that. Then we imagine the whole sky and earth moving and trembling, fearful and vast. Ponder this, within their midst, I am alone on a high rocky peak with no companion. I alone have obtained human life. And I am on the verge of falling down. Oh dear, amidst such a multitude of denizens of hell realms, predators, and animals, I alone have obtained human life. Has this present unique situation just been my good luck? Or has it arisen by the power of virtue? Having obtained this, which is so difficult to acquire now, if I were pointlessly to fall back empty-handed, I would have to experience such overwhelming suffering down there. What a waste. Although I have now obtained that which is difficult to acquire, there is no time to waste, for now I shall certainly fall down there soon. Now, what is the best way to avoid falling down there? Where is it? Oh dear, wretched me. Oh, I am afraid. So we contemplate this. Earnestly utter these words of misery. Oh dear, I am afraid. Oh dear, I am afraid. There are so many sentient beings in miserable states of existence. The attainment of human life is so rare. And I shall fall down there so soon. That which is difficult is to find is easily destroyed. What can I do to be liberated? If there is such a way, I shall follow it. While you're uttering these words of lamentation, like before, imagine that your primary spiritual mentor appears before you in the sky above, displaying the mudra of bestowing protection. Imagine that he utters these words to you. Alas, the attainment of human life of leisure and endowment, which is difficult to find, has been obtained only now, and it is not permanent. Soon you are about to fall into miserable states of existence. If something of great significance is not accomplished with this now, it will be very difficult to find human life later. Look at the number of sentient beings to see whether it is rare or not. Independence upon this human life, accomplish Buddhahood. As soon as you hear these words, consider, alas, amongst such a multitude of sentient beings, I alone have obtained precious human life, which is so difficult to attain. Now I shall liberate myself from the sufferings of cyclic existence. Then I shall free every one of those sentient beings down there. Now there is no time for distractions, for I shall swiftly bring them to a state of Buddhahood. As soon as you bring forth the spirit of awakening with those thoughts, imagine that the essence of light rays from your spiritual mentor's heart strikes you, instantly causing you to reach the realm of Sukhavati. Then, incalculable rays of light emerge from your own heart and bring every single sentient being to the realm of Sukhavati. Cultivate powerful compassion for all sentient beings. So in this way, meditate continually on the difficulty of obtaining human life. And then at the bottom of page 31, it concludes, thus meditate in that way on the difficulty of obtaining human life, of leisure and endowment, until your mind turns away from cyclic existence. If human life is so difficult to obtain, you must by all means imbue this present unique opportunity with Dharma. Cultivate sincere compassion for these people who have obtained a pure human life but return from it empty-handed. If compassion does not arise when you see these worldly beings, the experience has not arisen. If sincere compassion is brought forth and enthusiasm increases, the experience has arisen. If enthusiasm does not increase, meditation is pointless. Meditate on this for 3 days and then return. So those are the guidelines from Padmasambhava on doing this practice. So if we look at the practice as articulated in the practice handout, we begin with our intention. This is practice 12. And then we do the refuge prayer, short shamatha, and then we, in the speech, say, this precious human life is just for now. If I cannot practice Dharma now, it will be very difficult later. It is not enough that I have attained a precious human birth, for countless others have attained, yet they live a life of suffering. I feel great compassion. And we repeat that 3 times. Then with our mind we ponder the odds against attaining this. We reflect back on the turtle narratives, the turtle story, the blind turtle, or think of it in terms of the statistical odds of us being here. Any of those work. And then we meditate on the suffering of the 3 lower realms as it's described in the text. We feel anger that manifests as the hell realms. We feel the greed that manifests as the hungry ghost realm. We feel the ignorance that manifests in the animal realm as they eat each other. And optionally I've included going on and including the other 3 higher realms. So we can do that if you have the time, do that. Feel the sense desires that manifest in the human realm, particularly the human desire or lust for other human beings. Feel the jealousy that manifests in the demigod realm, and feel the pride or arrogance that manifests in the God realm. So you can do each of those. And then we imagine that we alone are human. We're the only one who has attained the status of a human being among all of these different realms. The only one in the entire universe. Was this just our luck? Or did we accomplish this because of some of our virtue? What a waste now to fall back into other realms. Then your spiritual guide appears above you, as before, says, alas, the attainment of the human life of leisure and endowment, which is difficult to find, has been attained. It is not permanent. If something of great significance is not accomplished now, it will be very difficult to attain later. So we contemplate on that for a while, and then dedicate the merit of the practice, and then in post-meditation, we continue. Okay, so we make it a 24/7 meditation and meditate continuously on having attained this precious human birth. And so in that way we have 3 complete days of meditation. So between the 2 meditations, the meditation on suffering of samsara, the meditation on precious human life, we do 3 or 4 days of each of those during this week. And then we will be ready to then move on to the other 2. 2. So those are the practices for this week in our class on natural liberation. Enjoy.